Hi, good evening. Welcome to Mount Vernon Junior High. If you haven't been here, this is the big gym. You walk past the small gym, the pool, so we're going to have lots of things going on here for your kiddos. I'm going to turn it over to the 6th grade teachers. They're going to introduce themselves and take you through a little bit of what the junior high is going to look like. I'm going to pop back in on X number of slides, just wherever is needed, and fill you in, but we're excited to have you. It's a little bit of a nerve-wracking time if it's your first child, because you're going from a small elementary setting where they're one of 40 to a big junior high setting where you might be one of 150. So we understand that. We know it's going to be an adjustment. I'll let you in on a little secret. It's more of an adjustment for you than it is the kids. Okay? They're going to get here. It's going to take them a while, but they're going to find new friends, groups. They're going to be trying different things. They're going to be distracted with all kinds of opportunities, and you're going to be worried about them. And that's fine. We expect that, as we all do for our own students. But this group is I have a fabulous 6th grade team, and they're going to take care of them and guide them into the junior high schedule. We're not just going to go first day, like, all right, we're on block, let's go, and let them loose. They will take them through, treat them as elementary kids at the beginning, and then gradually release them into the wild. But I promise you, we haven't lost one yet. They've all came and went on. So we will do the same with your group, and take it away. Oh.
Hi, my name is Emily Julian, and I teach language arts.
I'm Susan Tucker. I teach language arts.
I'm Etsy Campbell. I teach math.
Some of our other faculty that are not here tonight are Mrs. Johnston for math, Mrs. Harshbarger and Mr. Smith teach science, Mr. Walker teaches social studies, and Mrs. Burke is our special services teacher.
Being a math person, we kind of ran a few numbers the other day. Among the teachers here, we have over 110 years of teaching experience. And believe it or not, I'm not the most senior one. 110 years of teaching experience. And I think there's 19 of us. We have 19 kids among us. So ask us any questions you want. The good news we have for you, though, if this is your first child or your last child going off, the good thing we have for you, despite what your child wants you to know, they still do need you. They still do need you. Okay? We need you. They need you to make sure they get a good night's sleep. Most doctors would say 8 hours, and we kind of know that's a pipe dream, but let's try for that. They need you to remind them to get off the internet, unplug the Wi-Fi if you have to. They need you there for that. They need you to make sure they eat a good breakfast. The wonderful news, we have a fabulous cafeteria. If you know Debbie Mitten, she does amazing stuff in there. We have breakfast here. They don't eat at home, they can eat here. We'll take care of that. Make sure they read every night. This is a lifelong skill. There are very few jobs out there in this world that don't involve some level of reading. So we're trying to make readers out of them. So please make sure they read every night. We love if they read AR books. But even if they're not AR books, just read. Read road signs, read comic books, whatever. Just read every night.
And our library has a great collection of books for all levels. We have high-level books, and we have a really huge selection of graphic novels, too. So if your kid's a real reluctant reader and they're like, I don't want to read, we have books for every kid at our school.
Our librarian will help them with that. Check on their progress. Help them but find time to work on homework. Sometimes we find it's more successful to help them set up a plan. When do you plan to do your homework? If you're trying to get them to do their homework first thing when they get home, they might not like that. But if they come up with a plan to say, just give me an hour to do my own thing, and then we'll settle down. And just kind of support them in that. Let's find some time to do your homework. Homework is important. I can watch all those wonderful basketball games in the world right now. I can watch all those playoffs. It doesn't mean I can come out and sink a three-pointer. You got to practice it. And that's what we tell them too. We don't give a lot of homework. We try not to. We try to stretch things out. We try to give them a lot of time in class. But sometimes they just need to finish up those last few things. Okay, so please encourage them to get that homework done. It's going to make them a lot more successful coming in the next day. They're confident, they're ready to learn.
And if you're not sure how to check grades in Skyward, your student will know how to do it, and they can show you their grades. We want our parents to know what the grades are, and email us if something doesn't look right. Please stay in contact with us.
Most of y'all might be familiar with Google Classroom already. We as teachers really like it a lot. There is a handy dandy little calendar button that your child can click on. It'll show them what is due tomorrow, what is due the next day, what is due the next day. They can click on it, it'll pull up a picture of it, a copy of it, the directions for it. Use the calendar too. It's a great feature. Your kid also needs you to supervise what they're doing on phones and computers. In 6th grade, they're starting to get a little more responsibility. You know, you're going to give them a little more access to some things. A lot of websites say, yeah, when you're 13, go for it. They still need supervision. They still find themselves getting into a little trouble. So
They get very curious.
they can get very curious on things that they really have no business looking into.
We will supervise their computers at school. We have software where we can monitor screens, so we will do our best job at school to do that as well.
And they also need you to make sure they have a pencil and a charged Chromebook every day, at the minimum. Pencil and a charged Chromebook, they're pretty much ready for school there. We also like them to have their notebooks, we also like them to have the other things, but pencil and a charged Chromebook sets them up for success the minute they walk in the door.
Some important August dates, August 3rd and 4th, student schedules and locker combinations will be released, and the building will be open to you and your students on those dates. So between 8 and 3, you guys can come up, you can walk around the building, they can come practice their lockers. That's a big thing. If you can bring your kids up and have them get comfortable with their locker before the first day, that takes a lot of stress off of them, and it makes it easier on us because we're not trying to help 40 kids open their lockers during one passing period. So that makes it much easier on everyone, get them comfortable with their schedule, have them practice walking around the building so they know where to go, know how to do their locker, and then it just puts everyone at ease on the first day. And then Tuesday, August 8th is our first day of school.
So a day at MPJHS, probably similar to elementary schools, at 7:55 our first bell rings. If your student arrives to school early, before 7:55, they would eat breakfast or report to teach them that we can hold our students until that first bell rings at 7:55, and then they would have time at their lockers to get materials, and then the morning bell would ring at 8:03, and then school begins at 8:05. We appreciate kids being in class on time. It just kind of helps minimize distractions and kind of helps with the stress level of kids to occur in class on time. So we operate on a block schedule. On maroon days, periods 1, 2, 3, and 4 meet, and on white days, periods 5, 6, 7, and 8 meet. Language arts and math classes meet every day, and then science and social studies alternate. So they have science one day, social studies the next day, alternating back and forth. Same thing with their rotational classes such as PE and all our credit classes as well will rotate. Do you want to talk about special education 504 plans?
Okay, so if your child already has an IEP or a 504 plan, we'll continue to follow that. So you should have had a meeting this year with your teacher of record at the elementary we're at, so that follows them all the way through. If you have questions about special services, you just need to contact the school and we can walk you through it. If you think we need to look at your child's plan, at any point in time, you can schedule a meeting and we'll get together and we can make adjustments, tweak it, do whatever we need to do to accommodate your child and meet them where they're at. Our counselors, Miss Robinson and Miss Rose, Miss Skates, if you know her, she got married, so now it's Miss Rose. So if I mess that up even all year for the rest of my life, my bad. We split the kids up alphabetically. Each of them get a group of students that they kind of keep track of their records, but that's on top of your teacher of record if your child has an IEP. If they have a 504, which is just a way that we can put on paper accommodations for your child or your student that stays with them all the way through school, it would be Miss Rose and most likely myself or Miss Reese, Assistant Principal Miss Reese. She's in charge of the building. Okay. Miss Rose takes care of the 504s for us. We also have a counselor, so we just go over this when we get to it. We also have a social worker, Miss Brothers, that we share with the high school. So she's part-time with us, part-time at the high school, but she has a caseload at the junior high for just any concerns that your student may have, and it could come in adjusted, it could come just in a bigger setting. They do a really good job. All three of our counselors do a really good job of meeting with students and just providing them tools for their tool belt. How do you deal with someone who's saying something mean to me at lunch? How do you deal with the anxiety of a passing period? How do you deal with just getting older, and going through some things? They do a good job of meeting with them and just walking them through and just providing them tools that they can use on their own, trying to teach them some skills that they can provide to be more stronger in their social emotional well-being.
So our Chromebooks are one-to-one. Students take them home every night. They are solely responsible for their Chromebooks. We do not charge them for them. They need to do that at home, and it's very important that they do so because we do use the Chromebooks a lot. We utilize Google Classroom to push out our curriculum, so everything we do will be on Google Classroom. It makes it really easy for the students to see what they need to do. It makes it easy for you guys. So anytime you have a question about what an assignment is or what they should be doing, that's the first place to look. There's no data plan, but students can connect to home Wi-Fi. At the beginning of the year, we have them sign a usage contract, which kind of outlines our expectations for them for what they're doing on their Chromebook, how they're treating their Chromebook, things like that. And then if that contract's violated, we have a system where we track that, and then if it becomes an issue, we have consequences, which students are aware of ahead of time. But that just kind of helps keep everything in check for the Chromebooks.
Staying informed as a junior high parent. First off, I will say the other math teacher over there, Miss J, snuck in the back when you weren't looking, so we're glad to have her here. Every day, our daily announcements will get posted on the Facebook page. If you're on Facebook, you can go there, find out about after-school meetings, clubs, things like that. There's a lot of cute stuff they put on Facebook. So definitely if you're on Facebook, like us, follow us. There's a lot of great information. We post stuff, fun stuff the kids are doing. You'll see a lot of pictures of that. Skyward is what we use to keep track of grades. Google Classroom is how we keep track of assignments and things like that. Now, an assignment's really not done. A kid can go into Google Classroom and go, done, and it's not really done. So when they show you their Google Classroom, oh, it's done, might not really be done. Skyward is what you got to count on. If they tell you it's done, I don't know why that teacher just didn't grade it. Might have time to ask questions. Check in with us. We'll let you know for sure. Best way to contact us is email. We can't answer the phone during the day. Emailing us is a great way to do it. We often get a few minutes. We have some time during the day. We take a little break that we can catch up on emails. It's a lot harder to call, and I know a lot of you are working or sleeping then, those that work at night. A lot easier to email than call. We usually get back to you right away. So we encourage email, and definitely email us. Beginning of the year, every one of these kids is probably going to be new to us. So if there's something you need us to know, we are more than happy to know it. We try really hard to get to know those kids. It takes just, I'd say for me, 2 weeks just to get every kid's name down. And then you're talking, well, this kid needs help with that, or this kid has a special need for something. Feel free to let us know, well, I'm not sure, it's going to take a while. We have fantastic counselors and special ed teachers who will push out all the information Mr. Hostetter talked about, what type of accommodations we can do to help them, and we're happy to do it. But in the beginning of the year, it gets very overwhelming. So if there's something we need right out of the gate, feel free to just let us know. My kid needs to sit on a pillow in class, or whatever it is. We're happy to do that until we get all that paperwork together and all in our heads. Just give us a holler if we need something. We want to help you make your child successful. So definitely let us know if there's something we can do. Email's the best way for that.
And just to add to that, throughout the year, don't feel like you're being that parent if you email us. We want to hear from you. We'd rather hear from you right away when you have a concern or a question or need something, even if it's just to ask how your kid's doing. It's not going to bother us. We'd rather hear from you than something become an issue later. So don't feel like it's a bother to ever reach out to us.
Okay, so what we will do for our honors courses, let me just say first that we're not teaching different standards to sixth graders no matter what class they're in, or for that matter seventh graders, or for that matter eighth graders. Outside of once your student gets into eighth grade, we do offer algebra for a high school credit. So that is really the only course at the middle school that is different from what everybody's getting. Okay, but that's a decision that we can make along the way. Right now, we don't know your student, okay? So what we have done, we sent out stuff to the elementary teachers, just try to get as much feedback from them as we can. We look at numbers, and unfortunately that doesn't always tell the true story, but that's what we're looking at. We're looking at what's just done in the last couple of weeks with iLearn. We're looking at what they did at the elementaries with iReady. We're working at any type of the grades. We're looking at teacher recommendation to try and get them in the right place. It's important to get them in the right place, wherever that is. It's less important if it's honors or not. That's the least of our concerns right now. We want them in a classroom where it's their level. We want them in a classroom where they don't feel intimidated. We want them in a classroom where they're not bored. We want them to be challenged at the right pace. Too many times, the more difficult things we see as they get older, a kid gets in over their head and they start becoming a behavior issue, or they just check out and then become a problem at home because you're asking them to do homework and ultimately they don't really know how, and they're just checking out during the day because they're just, well, as humans, we just don't ask for help very well, just in general. Sure, I mean, I know I don't very well, it's just a challenge, it's to show our weakness. Or they get into a classroom that is so easy that they get idle hands and they're done quick and they're breezing through and they're getting distracted on their iPad, or not iPad anymore. Well, we use Chromebooks. They're on whatever website that I blocked 3 weeks ago. They found another way to get into it. So, we don't want them bored. So we want them challenged. We don't want it to be easy, but we don't want them in a position to where they get challenged to the point where they shut down. So bear with us this year. Communicate with us, absolutely. But when that comes out, don't freak out. I'm telling you, I promise you, it'll be okay. And really, when they get to the high school, you get to choose anyway. Like the high school counselor don't let you choose geometry or honors language arts. Now, we will recommend when they leave junior high, but ultimately you get to choose a level of credit or pathway you take at the high school level. Okay? So that, I know that's a concern, because I've been there. My kids have been through. I'll just pick on my wife since she's not here. She thought they're all honors. Well, yeah, no, they're not. Mine, one of them was not. It's okay. It's all right. He needs push. He needs to be at the right level so we can help him grow. We're going to look for growth. We're going to look for growth every day. It's a theme of ours, a growth mindset, to be better today than we were yesterday, but not as good as we're going to be tomorrow. So bear with us during this process. We'll take your input for sure. Okay, it's not a one-way street, but just bear with us.
And once the school year starts and we get to know your child more, and we get to the end of the grading period, if we see your child is maybe not in the correct placement, I taught honors this past year, and I've had students that I've had to take out of honors because they weren't performing. But then we've seen kids that are in regular classes that need to be pushed up. So we can make adjustments, ideally at the end of the grading periods, based upon what we've kind of seen performance-wise from our kids.
And in sixth grade, it's language, arts, and math. I mean, those are really the only two classes. But you're getting the same standards no matter what.
Yeah. At the junior high, we have lots of opportunities for your child to become involved. We have a list of them up here in case you can't see the board. Cross country, track, basketball, wrestling, cheer, intramurals, club sports, band, play, talent show, choir, academic teams, spell bowl, student council. We want your child involved in school. If your child chooses to want to do athletics, they must have a physical and final though.
Yeah, big thing, the older we get, moving up at the junior high level, we're going to have a lot more school-sponsored stuff that's after school hours. I highly encourage, find something that your child or your student's interested in. We don't care what it is. Find something that connects them to the school. Find something that they are passionate about beyond the books. I mean, not all of us are cut out to sit at a desk all day long, just listening and gathering information. They need to have a purpose. Our band, choir, play, academic teams. We'll have football teams going on in the spring. We'll have cross country. We'll have runners, wrestling during the summer, track in the spring.
Chess.
All kinds of stuff. Chess.
Game after school, Campbell.
We do a prime time that will start a few weeks into school that's during the school day. Gosh, I don't know. We might have a forensics class. We might have a writing class. We might have a swim class. We might have girl power.
Spanish, Espanol.
Robotics.
Spanish.
It's limitless, and it's just an opportunity, and that's your student's choice. They'll get to pick where they want to go. Now, caveat, 6th grade, you're 6th grade, so you're down the pecking order a little bit, but you're going to get to pick somewhere that you get to go and experience something new. Encourage them. Don't let them be the one to, I'll just do study hall. No. Get out and do something. Find something. Get interested. Try something new. We've had board games. We had bicycle repair one time. Computer. We went to the, didn't we go? We had like broken down computers at the dump. And at the recycle center, and they built them. You know, they put them back together. So find something that they're interested in. Opportunities abound as you move up the ladder of Mount Vernon in general.
Transportation is somewhat similar to elementary. Contact the office and your bus driver in August if it's a new bus for junior high. There's a special transportation form if you need that. You can pick up the form when you pick up schedules in August. For drop-off, the doors open at 7:15, and then students will stay out for the foyer until 7:30, at which time they would either go to the cafeteria or the gym until the first bell rings. Pickup is in the north parking lot, the soccer tennis court side, and then walkers can leave the building by the math doors, and that just kind of keeps traffic moving, make sure everybody has a safe way out of school.
There's our contact information. If you just Google us on Facebook, you'll find a lot of the same things. Two fantastic secretaries up in the front office can probably answer any question you need to know. Again, you can email the teachers. You can try any of those numbers, any of those resources. We got a fabulous nurse, full-time nurse, right here to help with everything you need. We ask you report absences, so you and I both know that your kids are covered. If they don't show up, it's not because they ran off to the library or something during the day. If you got medications, she will take care of that. Some people actually like her to give the medicine every morning rather than trying to do it when you've got your 6 kids at home all going different directions. Happy to do that, okay? Any health concerns, anything you need, you let her know. You can even call her up and say, my son's got a weird green thing coming out of his ear. Is there something going around like that? She is so helpful, so knowledgeable. All those people are here to help you.
Before you move on, one thing about contact, we take it for granted. So at the junior high, your child's going to have 5 or 6 different teachers. So they're going to have on their schedule a home-based teacher. They might have a primetime teacher. They're going to have 4 gen ed teachers. They're going to have a rotating teacher that could be, art, music, facts, computer science, PE, swim, whatever. If you have a question about a specific class, like right now, I think you could probably just email your homeroom teacher or your main teacher. we're gonna need you to be a little bit more specific, because if you email like a homeroom teacher about math, they're not gonna know a whole lot more than what you see on a computer screen. So if you got a math question, it'd be best to email the math teachers. You got a language arts question, email the language arts teachers.
I know one thing we encourage our students to do is when they are absent, our sixth graders are really good about emailing us when they're home, like, hey, Mrs. Tucker, I'm home sick today, but I'm well enough to do a little bit of work. What am I missing today? And they'll email me, and I will respond as quickly as I can. So then little Johnny at home doesn't feel like they're missing out and they know what's going on. So I definitely, we'll kind of train them on that. But if you're home with them, you can be like, hey, Johnny, did you email your teachers to see what you're going to miss today? That helps us out a lot. That way we kind of front load what they're missing. So when they come back to school, they're kind of ready to kind of rejoin us. You guys have any questions?
Will robotics be back next year?
Yeah, to some level. Yeah, even if, like right now, we're looking at trying to get a 4-week, at least every student for 4 weeks. We just had a lifeguard challenge. What's the turnover this year?
About how many classrooms do they go to throughout the day?
They'll have 4 classes in one day and then home base.
Gotcha. And then
So
what is their,
it'd be math, language arts, science or social studies will be their 3rd class, and then their rotational special class is their last class period of the day.
and then what do they get between periods? What's their,
5 minutes.
Is it 5 minutes?
Yeah. Now, they're not going to get there in 5 minutes the first week, so do not let them freak out. Like 6th grade, they're my least concern on tardies, because they're up there. Well, I mean, we need like 50 people here on the first day, or 1-to-1, because we can't remember what our locker combination. So it takes a long time. So they're kind of on their own schedule to some degree at the beginning of the year for those first 2 weeks, just guiding through the process. Most of their classes are upstairs, and that's purposeful to give them that space. All their lockers are upstairs, unless we need some special accommodation. So they have that time and space where they're, 8th graders, we're holding them to the fire for the day. They gotta get where they gotta go. 6th graders, yeah, we'll give them time. Now, by this time, it doesn't take long. And then you start seeing tardies, and that means they're just hanging out, talking to their buddies, or hiding in the bathroom, or coming downstairs to see their sister. I don't know. We've had all kinds of
see
stuff.
tardies marked in the grade book
Yep.
too. So if you're like, I wonder if they're getting to class on time, you can see that in the attendance records, their tardy counts.
Skyward will be your friend. It really will be, because you can see
discipline
any discipline that we do, and even sometimes the small things, just like, a little distracted today, no office action needed. We'll record that, and you can see. Okay? So you'll be able to see that. You'll updated grades, their attendance, whether or not they're getting to class on time. You're not going to get the newsletter. I don't know if they still do in 5th grade or not, but you're not going to get a newsletter. You'll get a newsletter once a month from Ms. Reese. But you're not going to get an individual newsletter from the classroom teacher. So that changes and puts the pressure on the kids, and we know that.
One of the things we haven't mentioned, the beauty of having just 4 classes a day is the classes are 70 minutes long. They're education classes, which gives us teachers a really good time to introduce new material and then really sink their teeth into it, experimenting and trying. And right now in math we're doing an Olympics project. Every day they're doing some takeoff of an Olympic event, and they're charting it and they're graphing it, and we can just sink our teeth in to take a much bigger bite of stuff in a long class period than just a quick get in and I'll show it to you, get out and do homework. They have time in class. If they're using it well, they can start their work when the teacher's there to answer questions. It's a really great system.
And how many students are there approximately in each class?
In a class, it's anywhere, right now I've got from 16 to 32. Some of the classes, a smaller class is one where we've identified those kids just need a smaller environment. They'll thrive with that little bit more attention. Whereas a higher level class, some of these honors classes, we can put a lot more kids in that because, they're able to grasp things easier, don't need as much work. So it depends on the class, but I've always found them very manageable.
Yeah, we have volleyball, tennis, we have some club style tennis stuff going on from junior high, 8th grade, offer tennis as a school sponsor sport during your middle school. But we have some, Park and Rec is still doing, got some tennis going. And we work with Park and Rec a lot. Like, if you haven't done sports yet, like a lot of the activities will be here at junior high to high school, using the facilities outside, so you'll be a lot closer. I found it with my kids too. I couldn't wait because now at least most stuff was happening in one location instead of 5.
Is there an alternate date and time for getting schedules and what?
Just contact us.
Okay.
Yeah, just contact us. If it doesn't work for you, just contact us. Unfortunately, someone will be here. Yeah. I wish it wasn't me, but it's probably going to be me. I still have a kid in school, so I'll be sitting in there waiting for him. But yeah, we can work it out for sure.
A lot more of your questions have a yes answer than a no answer, if you get a chance to ask it.
And usually breakfast starts what time? Is it like around 7:30 in the morning?
Yep.
Breakfast?
7:30 starts breakfast.
Yeah, we'll have drop off at 7:30 for sure. The front door does open at 7:15. So that way if there is some work challenges, we have a place for them to go. When they get here, buses start getting here about 7:20 and then all the way up until who knows when sometimes. But student will ask you to drop off in the front of the building in the morning. At the beginning of the year, keep an eye out on your email because I'm going to send a map because it's chaotic at the beginning of the year. And I'm going to ask you to just slow down to about 5 miles an hour, kick your kid out the door and let him roll a little bit in the grass, and then go. I know no hugs and kisses on the first day of school, but we'll have multiple places. We'll have multiple places on the first 4 days to drop off kids, just so we can keep track of that. Does get kind of more than what you're used to with the high school and junior high together. The what?
Start time.
Yep, all that's on the website. It'll have the schedule, the class schedule's on there, 8:05 to 9:25. And then you'll be getting lots of information closer to time. I send packets out, email-wise. Pickup at the end of the day is the tennis courts if you're picking your child up. We try to get them out. We do try to get walkers out if they're going to walk at some point. We want them going out that side of the building and away from traffic. I know, moms. We'll do it. I promise. Now, once they're gone, they're yours. No, just kidding. Get out the door. Not my bad.
Really? Anything else?
Oh, yeah.
What is the best way to find your guys' emails? Because I couldn't find any last year when I was having issues.
Access to internet.
Question. On your student's email, she's pulling that up. On your student's email account, I've had people that do this. If they just start typing in Campbell, C-A-M, it's going to give them Elizabeth Campbell, that's me, Wesley Campbell, my son, any Campbells in the school will pull up so they can find their teachers. They start typing in Tucker, it'll pull her up first, and the other Tuckers in the school. So I have had parents who will get on their student's account and go, it looks like it's coming from Johnny. This is Johnny's mom. What does he need to know for tomorrow? Things like that.
But when I'm at work, I can't do that.
Yes,
so
yes.
I've
So
had a hard time trying to get it to where I can find it.
there's our junior high website.
On the website?
You can Google and find Mount Vernon Junior High. Make sure you get the Mount Vernon. Well, for the junior high, we're the only one. But make sure you're getting the one in Indiana, because there's lots of Mount Vernons y'all already know.
Yeah, there's a tab that says MVJHS, and then staff directory, and little pictures pop up. And then let's see if we want to, Mr. Blair is one of our PE teachers. We click him. Does it give an option on,
Yeah, you just drill
then
it.
you just input your information and then your message.
Good question.
Once they're in classes, you can just, you'll have it on Skyward also.
Sorry. Right now, my daughter is part of Mars Elementary. As far as the credentials, does it get carried forward to the new school, or does it change completely?
her credentials.
Yes.
They'll get a transcript
Yeah.
from the elementary school.
They'll come with her.
Okay,
Yeah.
so it would be pretty much the same then?
Yeah.
Farmersville, West, all those, it all just comes in automatically. St. Matthews works really well with our counselors. We get all their stuff too. And anybody from, if it's somebody's coming from out of state or something, then we work and get all that too. We try to make it as easy as we can on y'all.
Yeah, from our end on Skyward, we can see, previous grades, we can see all the parent information profile. So we have all that pretty much in our grade book that we can access too.
The money on their lunch account will also carry over.
It should.
Yeah.
I think it didn't make us, did it?
Actually, we live in Vanderburg County, so should we have, is there a special form that we have to fill,
Yeah, you'll
like a transfer or something?
call me a little bit leading up to it. Yeah, it's the same form you filled out, just and then I sign off. And since they've been here, we'll just keep going. No questions asked.
If you have any individual questions, once this is over, we'll hang back for a few minutes. Feel free to ask.
Oh,
If you don't want to ask in a large group, you can come ask.
Yeah, I think individual
It's fine, too.
questions go to Miss Johnson, Miss Reese over there, since they're standing on the side. So that's all. I'm leaving. Oh, wait a minute. Dang it. All right, ask me. Hey, appreciate you coming out. Reach out. Don't be afraid. It takes all of us, and you're all part of our community. These kids aren't going anywhere. We want what's best for them and you, so we'll work together. Thanks.
Thank you.